possibility of funding the parking authority with Occupy, because when they make their quota, they actually go out sometimes and steal people's cars that don't have any quotas. We need more policy, make our roads do all that. They just pay, and they know that, and so that's their motive. And it happened to a couple of my friends, and I currently owe like over $1,300 like for these tickets. I don't see any end to that.
Okay, so as part of announcements,
So
begin to think about doing something to Occupy Parking Authority due to their outrageous tactics.
Yeah, they just had something on the news last night about a neighborhood that's got 120 houses that has like 50 parking spaces, and they paint the parking spaces in front of the homeowner's house, so you can only park 50. And like this is out in the suburbs, so it's really getting out of control because they're really
Okay.
There's 4 parking attendants on any given block, almost all day long.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
They got jobs, I guess. Is there any more general announcements or report back? Yes, Lori.
Hey everybody!
Hey there.
Okay, so National Gathering Working Group on Saturday, the proposal passed. We've gotten to the point now where we have basically these divisions of subcommittees of like shit that actually needs to be done, like very concrete, like we need to go here, we need to talk to this person. And I see a couple of people who are around who wanted to participate in that effort. If you want to participate in working to it, find me, Nate, or Steve right here, and or Meisner, who I don't see, and he's right over there. And we would love to kind of get this process started. We're going to call for a meeting very, very soon along those same lines. And also, if you want to be involved in the kind of reframing of General Assembly conversation, we're going to try to get that off the ground very, very soon as well. Which is basically revolving around the idea of the GA being less frequent and more focused toward inviting communities in to tell us what they're working on and to get support and have it be reciprocated, as opposed to a bunch of us just kind of gathering and shooting shit. Which I love GA.
I love shooting the shit.
Yeah, I love shooting the shit too. Just to be more focused. I had a conversation today with one of the main members of the Chosen 300, and I kind of threw this idea out of Occupy Philly, kind of offering this open forum to come in and kind of tell about ideas of what they're doing and kind of reciprocate support, and he was like very enthusiastic about it. And so as we reach out into the community and kind of move into the next phase of Occupy Philly, I think it's going to be a really like, sorry, I'm lost for word, a kind of good point for us to do that. And so if you'd like to be involved in the National Gathering Word, not a fanciful, but it's Word, or GA conversation, find me, Nate, Meisner, or Steve, and we'd love to get you involved. Thanks so much.
Nate.
Yeah, my name's Nate. This Saturday we're going to be doing some teach-ins down here again. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. The class that I've been that I started for the Free University will be meeting here instead of at the library in Olney, and that will be the plan was at noon, but we'll have to talk about that timing. So tomorrow, Saturday all day, there will be some teach-ins. I'll probably do another seed bomb workshop. If anybody's interested in that, it should be fun.
It is fun.
Thanks.
Does anybody, pardon me, does anybody else have any further announcements, report back, something for the group to consider? Yes.
I'll just put up there my ideas. These Occupy cycle NATO summits in Chicago. I just want to know if Occupy plans on having Occupy Philadelphia plans on having organizing some sort of transportation to be there in support of whatever the events that are going to take place to protest them.
Do you know the particulars on that? Like
Go ahead, Bill's idea.
First one, Cockney State Park in Maryland, which is the same park that Camp David's in. It's that's the park, Hagerstown,
Got it.
Frederick. We're going to go down there first 2 days, raise hell, because it's going to be a full report of deal. And the big networks get into Camp David, and all the regular people from foreign press and American press have nothing to do but talk to us. Then we're going to leave in the early, late in the evening on the 18th, share driving out to Chicago on the 18th, 21st. We should have 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks of all. We want to spend like 5 or 6 days of road.
So say that back to me. So the first date is on the 16th?
We're going to go down probably later on the 16th, early on the 17th. The Camp David thing doesn't actually start until the morning of the 18th. We intend on being close as we can get to it without, getting shot. And
that's not a joke, but it's funny.
And DAA, Patsy helicopter, that's fire missiles, you never know. But and then we'll go to Chicago real late at night on the 18th, early on the 19th. There's a lot of churches putting people up. There's a lot of private organizations helping out. It's still going to a lot of money.
Okay.
What's the location and time again?
Pardon me?
Location and time again?
Where and
the
when?
16th.
Where and when?
These carloads from Philly are going very early in the 18th or very late on the 17th. We got to go out 76 to west of Carlisle and cut south in Mounds. We'll be leaving probably real late on the 17th or like 5 or 6 a.m. on the 18th. We'll firm this up.
And then it's a bicycle ride to Chicago.
Yeah, that's
Occupied cycle guy.
Citizen Camp.
Which camp is it again? The camp?
Camp David.
Camp David.
That's 38.
Cockpit State Park.
Nato is in Chicago.
They're taking cars, another group is taking cycles, and then they're going to near Camp David first, and then going to Chicago, and the cycle people are just going to Chicago.
From here.
Well, the cycle people left already.
The second people left already. That's what you had asked.
Yeah, but
Vietnam vets are organizing a trip to Camp David for
The second people
the G8 summit, and then they're going from there to Chicago from NATO.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I guess anybody that wants to go can go.
This shit works. I like that. Yeah.
One other question about directed to that. So, how do we talk to you where we can find out information? Can we talk to you afterwards and find out information?
Are there working Facebook groups for all these different discussions?
Is anybody able to speak directly about the progress of group cycles related to Chicago who have already left? Does anybody know any information?
Octacycle.org.
Octacycle.org is apparently how to find out where they are and what's happening.
And I believe they have a live stream as well.
I don't know, but I'm sure the website would tell you.
.org will probably have information, a link to some information regarding where they are and how their progress is. Okay, that seems to be the answer to that.
Yeah. They said they were going to get a live stream set up before.
Yeah, we're back at 1,000 days. Dennis? You're on staff?
I basically got an announcement. I almost forgot. This Saturday from 9 to 2, we're cleaning up from Penson, Tioga to Buttonburg. I got 5 sections, 5 different groups, and I'm hoping Occupy Philly comes out and be one of them groups. Okay? I've been asking over and along for everybody to sign up and volunteer. Now let me see somebody come out and do some volunteer work this Saturday morning.
Say where and when, one more time real loud.
Well, Occupy Philly is scheduled to work from Burke, right? From Yorkendorf into Burke. That section I designated for Occupy Philly. If anybody wants to come out.
Yorkendorf into Burke?
What?
Yorkendorf
into Burke.
Yorkendorf into Burke.
Right. It's all on Front Street. Right up around where that factory just burned down. Okay. I'd like to see that avenue cleaned. I'm trying to organize that section for Occupy Philly to do. Okay? And if you do it, we need to pick up the tools tomorrow. Okay? And I'm even designating somebody to pick up the tools. Okay? Hey, you still got that paperwork, don't you? Yeah. okay? And if you're not going to be able to be around, pass that on to somebody who represents Occupy Philly to handle that spot. I got 4 other groups. I got a drug and alcohol, I had mental health, I had a white motorcycle club, and I had a Spanish motorcycle club handling it, okay? And I'm liking it. Occupy Philly is doing it.
So where and when do the tools need to be picked up?
They got to be picked up tomorrow. Got to be picked up tomorrow because Saturday at 33 South 63rd Street.
33
South 63rd Street. Go there, right, and pick up the tools. Whenever time you get there, but it got to be picked up tomorrow. Okay, there's tools like shovels, brooms, and trash bags available for your section of the avenue to be picked up. The other 4, they're already going to pick up their own. I got 5 group managers. Nate was supposed to be one of them, but he's busy. He's occupied something else. Okay, but you hear what I'm saying. This is the last day to jump on. The deadline is you got to get the tools tomorrow. Saturday at 9 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon is the event, and we're going to end the event with everybody who's been doing the spring cleaning with Mayor Nutter. It's going to all end up at McPherson Square, Needham Point Park, up in Kensington. That's in Kensington Avenue, Indiana F in Kensington. Right there, that library. We're going to have a party to celebrate the event.
On Saturday.
Yes. There's going to be news media. There's going to be refreshments. The mayor, whoever else. But man, come on up, Occupy Philly. It's your opportunity.
Have you notified Occupy maybe not?
I've been notifying everybody, but I want to see some follow-up. Okay, I'm not. But yes, the answer is yes.
Anybody volunteering a vehicle for that? Someone want to ride me?
Mine's not information. I'm looking serious people.
I have a
right
thing.
I just got
So like, with the protest, every Wednesday, related to the huge budget cuts in the city, $680 million has been cut in the education budget, and a lot of school nurses have been laid off. Second is every Wednesday this protest right Broad. I'm not sure that.
It's called Occupy 440
440 North Broad.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
To protest the school board budget.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Typically the nurses.
And more information.
Particularly
you can get more information about this over here. These flyers.
All right. It seems like every time we wonder if there's more to be said. There is. So continue coming up with these ideas. Report back. Any information. Any questions. Just constructive shit to be said.
Oh, because there's no set agenda, so we're just going.
That's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
There's not a particularly set agenda. I would put a idea out there though. Because of the timeliness and the opportunity that's before us with crushing Bank of America as it stands, I'd love to have a conversation about that and hear everyone's ideas about how to do that, and all the different brainstorming that can possibly come from it.
Before that, I just want to do a very brief thing about there's several Facebook groups in existence. There's Occupy Philly News. This is a Facebook forum to post news related to political, economic issues here in the city. There's a lot of the articles are like city paper, the weekly news, things of that nature. Because basically, if we focus on issues that directly relate to the public and their lives right off the bat, and the fact that these are being publicized already in the city paper, that's a lot of strength because every single week this entire city is reading this information so they know about it. The fact that we're in line with that. Yeah? No, I was giving you. Okay. Yes, So anyway, so post any news that's related to Occupy in general, like articles that are about Occupy, and about news in the city. So anyway, so check out that group. Some Occupy, kind of like a little bit like Free Cycle. It's for barter. It's for gifting, Skillshare. All these
I emailed him.
I
don't have his number. I couldn't text him.
There's
Hopefully.
there's also Occupy Philly Jobs too. If you need a job, if you know about jobs, post that on there and tell people about it.
Wow, it's about time.
See all three of them again.
All right. There's Occupy OP News Share or like News Thread. I'm sorry, OP News Thread.
OP News Thread, and that's for any news related to Occupy.
Yeah, and like that relates to the city. That's focusing on the city, like city issues and economic issues. OP Occuponomy and Occuponomy, like economy, and Occupy Philly Jobs. OP Philly Jobs.
So if you're looking to hire somebody for skilled work, you look up Occupy, or if you have jobs.
Yes, exactly. If you're trying to find a job, post what kind of job you're trying to find. Share a little whatever. You'll see how it works on there. Yeah. Yeah.
People who are looking
for jobs, and if you know a job, whatever.
So it's sort of like an Occupy Craigslist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
Why don't we have one of them yet?
We do.
Well, should have just taken it over Craigslist and make it
Well,
Occupy.
this is kind of the beginning of
Craigslist.
that, so yeah, you can find it all on Facebook. Good idea.
And then, Miser, will you restate what you had previously stated? Enthusiastic.
So here's the fucked up part. Like, I don't know that I can even sit here and have this conversation. I've got one friend of mine who came down with Bob's here. I don't know if you saw Bob. Bob's here, and I'm supposed to go and see Bob. So I kind of need to not be here, but
Just kick it off.
Right.
We'll keep going.
Right. So Bank of America, what are ways in Philadelphia that we could crush it? And if I don't feel the urge to do anything else, that's one idea that you guys might throw something out for right now.
How do we crush?
Move your money out if you haven't already.
They're in there for a few minutes. The bank people get nervous and they go to the next. Organize people, different branches of Bank of America, hit them all at the same time, shut them all down the same day, same time.
So there's a lot of voices, and I think there's probably a lot of good ideas. I'm gonna stick around for 15 minutes, and here's what I would love to do if you guys are willing to humor me. Break out in groups of 3, maintain ideas, come up with like 3 or 4 ideas. We'll do that for 5 minutes. Come back in, and then we can write all those down. And then that way it gives us like this list to work off of just things that are awesome. Are there any objections to that?
Well, like I just want to say that it seems like we're like in a pretty small group,
Sure.
and maybe it might work as a kind of cross conversation piece. Or are you saying like a breakout and then report back?
So a 10-minute period right now, 5 minutes, we break out in 3-person groups where everyone can kind of talk at the same time and get all those ideas out. Then we break back in, and then people do report back, and we list them all up, and then a conversation can happen from there.
If there's not really that many ideas right now, it might be easy to just have a full-on discussion as a group. But if people have a lot of ideas, there's going to be a lot of discussion, then breakdown groups. I don't know. Like,
If we do the breakout group first, there may be some overlapping ideas, and those seem like they'll end up being the strongest ones that the most people consent to.
Some people are much good at
yes.
So the breakout group first might be plausibly better, plausibly stronger, creating consensus.
So it doesn't seem like there's particularly strong objections against that, and I don't know if there's anything else emergency on the table. So right now it's 8:16, and then 8:21 will come back.
I'm in.
So we'll have 3 groups. Try to get people that'll write things down.
Quick point of information too, like we were talking about Bank of America. The Wells Fargo group is going to start coordinating with Bank of America group in Wall Street.
I've been involved in
So a lot of these actions, like we're going to emulate a lot of hours that we've done at Wells Fargo, and it's going to be like a suggestion that we emulate theirs to start coordinating that way. And so just like as you all are brainstorming, like a lot of the ideas in New York, they're going to kind of like bring and suggest here too. Just check that out. Then we're not like starting from ground zero with packing measurements.
Bunch of people hijacked the plane at the same time as catastrophes all happening momentarily apart. There's already two car guards once they were in the air for anything extraordinary. So that's why that was on a bad note. Why don't we do something where a bunch of people that do this do them at as many locations as they can, all at the same time. Simultaneous action at many banks in America.
That I feel that's an awesome idea. Like maybe like it can continue to be like there's one main focal point which is already in existence right now, and then like I guess that's kind of like the main base, if you will, and then like spontaneously at certain times then we'll like branch out, expand out to like multiple locations.
Like synchronize your watches kind of a thing. And then because what kind of actions could be just go into the lobby and.
Well, like for instance, the guy Mike did this at Wells Fargo, where he actually put up a big foreclosure on the bank sign in the window.
Great.
It is. I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference though. Will they just be absorbed by another bank, or will they be bailed out? And they'll change names on it.
So
that might be the whole thing.
One thought I had is being part of the Wells Fargo protest back was there's a lot of people that are initially going there like might have very strong reactions just against people, and they're like, who are these people? Like, why are they bringing shame upon me or suggesting that I should feel shame for having my money here? And so I think, I guess this is just not necessarily an idea, but just kind of a thing to be aware about. Is there are certain ways that we can maybe suggest people like why their money would be better than credit union? Stress on the key worry that people might have about that. Number one is convenience, and then two is rates of return. And then the other thing, I like the idea that if people just all show up at the Bank of America and the banks do get uncomfortable with people being out there, so that if we do that, one day or one day a week, it would only take 2 times or 3 times of someone not being able to go get money out of their account or deposit a check that they'd be like, screw this is not convenient for me, I'm just going to switch.
What about mortgage holders? And what can mortgage holders do?
What's that?
Mortgage holders. My mortgage is owned by Bank of America, but I didn't get it through Bank of America. I got it through a local lender who sold it to Countrywide, and then Countrywide folded, and Bank of America now owns my mortgage. Yeah, I didn't choose to do business with them, and I can't choose to not do business with them.
Well, I have a similar honest story. I in the Move Your Money Day event, it's not Bank of America related, but in the Move Your Money event last year, I closed my Wells Fargo account, and I refinanced my mortgage because my mortgage was with Wells Fargo. So the way that worked was, like, these brokers basically they buy your mortgage, right? But then they farm it out, so they refinance it and they farm it out to the banks. And a month after I thought I was done with Wells Fargo, I got a letter saying, your new refinance mortgage has been sold to Wells Fargo. So it's like and I don't know what to do. I mean, I think the idea, the thing with flyers is, to me, and to your question, there was somebody at GA a couple weeks ago talking about if you have a mortgage, you can put that money into escrow and make certain demands. So, and then you mentioned community banks. So, like, I think a lot of this is like education based in terms of knowing what your rights are and what your options are. So, if you have a mortgage, you know, like here's what you can do to protest, you know, like make the bank take notice. So, like, I think it's a lot of it is just, you know, how do we, you know, there's sort of the grievances piece which we had with Wells Fargo in terms of here are all of the, like, things that we think are not cool with what this bank is doing, and that's awareness about why there's a problem with the bank. But then there's also, like, educate me on, okay, so I acknowledge there's a problem, well, what can I do about it? You know what I mean? And I don't even know what those answers are because I'm stuck in, like, a revolving relationship with a bank that I don't want to be involved with. So.
For the sake of live stream, we forgot so.
We have a bunch of people dress up as CEOs.
Yeah, I've seen.
What would we do? Like dress up as CEOs and ask for bailouts.
Start asking people to leave.
Or no, be like,
sorry, we actually are closing down this branch.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're gonna have.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, so what
you didn't hear that,
right? Yeah.
Keep an eye on this camera. You know what?
We're
Anything you want to
closing
hear?
on Bank of America, similar to what they did at Wells Fargo with Philly. Teach-ins in their lobbies, sleeping at their bank sleep. Check it out on Twitter if you haven't already.
Hashtag bank sleep.
Locking their doors up like U-locks.
How does bank sleep hurt them? What does that
maybe not
accomplish?
No, that's a bad idea.
That's an idea we've heard.
We would never do that. We would never ever do that.
Right.
How is bank sleep hurting them?
That's a publicity stunt. So I wouldn't say it necessarily hurts them, but what it does is it goes, why are they doing this there? And then they see a sign, and they go, wow.
Just to draw attention to it.
They're willing to sleep out here. That's how much they believe it.
There was a woman, I think it was yesterday, that shut down her Wells Fargo account after talking with banks.
Multiple people have been doing that over years.
At Occupy Rittenhouse Square.
Moving your money to credit unions. That's huge. Push that. Tell all your friends and family. Maybe you're working with the credit unions to start campaigns against Bank of America, another big doing stuff like F the banks and moving furniture in their stores. And that's what we've got so far.
Here we go. Right.
What else?
See what's going on over here.
Okay, trying to pull up a script, we're going to do something against the VOA.
So 224, we've been at it for about 9 minutes. We can break it back.
Hi, Kevin. It's Larry Swetman. How you doing?
A little more time? Cool.
Good, man. Good. I'm trying to find those files. What was it again?
Yo, it's like exactly, and like also at the same time, like you're everyone's getting the help. So win.
The two-prong, right? Yes,
yeah.
It'll be more conscious of
Yeah.
this thing. Plus,
Yeah, you're helping the credit union, you're stopping the bank, and you're getting helped out, and then the
You're helping
helped out. And then that person that got turned on could then pass it to someone else, and they could get 150.
People from Harrisonburg, Virginia, were very big on moving money. They had actions every week out of banks to credit unions. They got one credit union so much business, the credit union gave them $1,000. That's how many people were moving. So they still made a lot of money because.
So that speaks to that.
Yeah, if they're giving you, so get everybody in the group to do this and tell to move to one credit union, and
and they say, hey, you know, if we get you more customers, you got to kick in us. So it goes to the key.
Or if not demand, at least like you're saying, solicit the credit union.
Well, no, let them know that they're getting their business because of our act. What they did is they had a flyer made up, and they had all the reasons that it's the people's advantage to move the money to out of banks to credit unions. And they also had the list of all the local credit unions there.
Yeah.
And they're handing
That's
them out.
what we would have to find out.
They were in front of all the banks,
Local credit union.
the big banks, and handing them out. And people are reading this and taking their money out.
Yeah,
I think that's the most effective thing, moving your money. It's got to be the most effective way to hurt their business.
Strong objections to moving it back in?
Yeah, because I applied for that stuff, and I was like, well, if you're doing things with the teachers, you're
Yeah, because I told you I want to let them know the Facebook beforehand, but like, I guess yeah, we'll talk about it.
Can I get volunteers to do report back? One.
You got that big marker?
Wayne, anybody over there? I need one person from over there.
Yeah, I got it.
What's your name?
Matt. One of the first things I did this morning. That number 2 was bugging, and it should have been a pocket newspaper.
Bill.
Right.
You have Bob's number?
What we had is we have three ideas. First was a bank sleep, just sleeping out in front of the bank, not just at night, but during the day. I don't know what's his name.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but the gentleman who was doing the stack earlier. What? Matt.
Yeah, he was saying he does bank sleeps, and that was very successful. That when he was doing bank sleeps, 4 people went in and closed their account. So, I mean, having rotating people outside and sleep bags is awesome. Then plan maybe an action within the bank, like foreclosing on the bank. Someone going in with a sign, putting in the window, be like, this bank is being foreclosed on, or just, you were still talking about an IKEA commercial, how like IKEA moved in to a train car, and in one stop turned into an IKEA apartment. So taking that idea, going into a bank, everyone like maybe bringing a lamp or a coffee table and putting it down and kind of making it, well, you took our home, so we're going to turn this into our house.
Especially if it's someone who lost their home from that would be amazing.
Yeah, if it takes the bank foreclosed on that house.
Yeah.
And did you want to talk about the promoting the?
Oh yeah, so we're talking about promoting credit unions and actually like getting their pamphlet information. Well, first off, making. Anyways, he was saying like we should get a list of all the credit unions here in Philly and promote them, but also getting the flyers from them and gain personal relationship with the credit unions here in Philly. The one that I go to, American Heritage, at 19th and Market, they have a special deal. If you bring in 2 friends, you get $150. And I think it's like $5 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So basically, like, this is a huge motivating factor, like, to promote this credit union. And, like, I think doing it outside the bank, obviously, but in general, too, do that, look into it. So ideas like, you know, you get those 2 people, but also promote that fact to those 2 people that you're flyering out to, or just people in general. Like, tell them, you know, if you get 2 people in, $150. So.
Yeah, I like that's like a positive thing, because you're saying, maybe these banks are horrible, and then stepping back. But it's nice that, like, leave these banks are horrible. Here's
something
another
way
option.
better.
Yeah. Like, have another option instead of just telling them, this is bad. It's always nice to give them an option.
the solution.
Truly let your money work for you instead of calling in and find out your money
Yeah.
stopped showing up.
Yeah. Okay, a few points. One, flyers would be great. The key information that we need to get to that is get the literature from the bank itself. Try to get as much information about Bank of America, their interest rates that they give for their CODs, their certificates of deposit, savings accounts, checking accounts, etc., and matching that to credit unions and just trying to get informed about what they offer and what all their services are. One point, there's 2 points that were brought up. One, 2 of the people in our group had mortgages, one through Wells Fargo, one through Bank of America. They tried moving them, but they were unable to, or when they did, they were actually resold back to Bank of America or Wells Fargo. And so I think there's probably a lot of people out there that would like to move their money and have tried to even to move their money, but they can't. It's not even their right because it's owned by someone else. Their mortgage is owned by someone else, so they have to figure out how to work that out. The other point that if Bank of America is on the verge of bankruptcy right now, then we need to hit them where it hurts with their cash flow. And I think I'm guessing that probably the best way to interrupt cash flow is to get people to close checking and savings accounts and then not renew certificates of deposit. My hunch is that while mortgages are worth a lot of money, they're labeled on their assets sheet that's not actually part of their cash flow. So trying to get people to close checking and savings accounts is probably, I think, would be a good target.
Steal all their deposit slips.
I was just thinking that.
Put fake deposit slips in.
Well, actually, two other
deposit slips.
two other ideas that were thrown out were if we actually were a broker between the local credit union and we could get their promotional literature about things like, hey, open an account with us and you can get $100. Here's what our savings rate. If we couple that with a flyer that says, here's what's really crappy about Bank of America, and oh, by the way, there's a credit union around the corner, and here's their application. All you have to do is go in there and close your account today, and walk down the street and open your account. So just making it as easy as possible to actually trigger the behavior from, oh, that sounds like a nice idea, to, oh yeah, that's actually pretty easy. I could do it right now. So that was one idea. The other thing is, we could actually infiltrate them from within. So if you're a shareholder within a company, if you own one stock in Bank of America, you have the right to go to their shareholder meeting. So you could actually, get 10 occupiers to buy one share in Bank of America, and you could go and mic check the shareholder meeting, at Bank of America. So that's a couple of other ideas.
That's okay. That's awesome.
It's so what now? What? I can't hear you very well.
So gangsta. Milk Boy doesn't know what that means.
Okay, I'll go over the list of my group had. I'm sure some of these are the same. I bounced out for a little bit there. Foreclose on Bank of America. Same way, Larry and so many others had eloquently done at Wells Fargo. Do teach-ins in their lobbies. Of course, sleep with their bank. Move your money, move your money campaigns, and still saying that properly. I love what you have to say. And working with the credit unions to try to facilitate them to get more business, and maybe even working with them to try to put out ad campaigns against big banks. You go, hey, let's make this coordinate. We'll just distribute flyers and stuff to you if you put out something that makes sense. Furniture move-in. And actually just setting up a little living room inside the bank. Dressing up as CEOs and telling people that the bank is closed. Doing bank tours, like getting people here because everybody on tours, and then going to a couple of banks and telling them about all the good things that are going on. And then assaulting Facebook for all it's worth, and really, really making that big push, get people to share everything on moving your money out of bank. which is probably a given anyways, but it doesn't hurt to reaffirm.
Is there something to be said about the last one about Facebook? Put any video or comments and photos of any of these actions, make them as public as possible on Facebook and other social networks, or great venues, something like that. Make sure that you don't protest in a corner, do it in the spotlight.
Hell right.
What's the Facebook page for these actions, for the bank action? Is there one?
Go to estabanks.org.
It's a good for Philly. Is there one?
We'll make their Philly main page.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like there should be a Facebook group specifically for bank actions here in Occupy Philly.
You would know more about it than me. And point of information on that, the reason I say go to estabanks.org is because we're coordinating with those folks, and we're going to have estabanks.org/Wells Fargo, which is kind of like our big enemy, hence being in the shadow of them. And so, like, pretty much our site within the next probably 2 or 3 weeks is going to mirror that site. And there's a couple really good videos that are worth sharing on that site. That's the reason, yeah.
So if it's already in place, it's a good place. Yeah.
Exactly. I would really encourage everybody to go to that site.
fthebanks.org. fthebanks.org.
Does anybody think it's a good idea to be dressed up as many of the little mountain guys?
That'd be cool. Tuxedos for everyone.
Were there any more report backs from groups?
Oh, yeah.
I keep making note of which ones keep getting brought up a lot, but one that Trisha brought up, which I don't know how legal it is, but people have done it before. It's like candid cameras of interviews with bank workers.
Yeah.
Posting them on like YouTube. Outreach, Move Your Money, and a silly eHow video on how to move your money. It could potentially like be used to educate people as to why you should move your money and another form of like media outreach online. Catchy and informative propaganda like silly buttons or stuff like that. Bank slates, like everyone interrupts shareholder meetings again. This is a little bit different. Direct actions via Twitter of people who are high up, like CEOs or high up within the bank. Apparently, a lot of them are very vain and like to tweet. So, mass adding them, like everybody just assaulting them. It might do.
Might take them down a peg, so to speak.
Everybody, everybody.
Mike check! Is that it?
Let freedom ring!
Who's that?
Already in all sorts of
A lot of places still have fax machines that they don't use.
Occupy love!
So another idea is to send crazy informative messages to the office workers via fax.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can I interject something or add something to the fax thing? If there's somebody that's considered an enemy, that needs your fax them, take a black piece of construction paper, put it in.
Yes, that's the thing. Large, big black letters, or even black, or do a printout where it's all black but the lettering is white.
Point of information
It's actually called black faxing.
It's called black faxing. Anonymous does it. Anonymous has done black faxing on Wall Street.
Another one which was talked about in Occupy Miller. I don't know how much Occupy Philly heard about it. It was big. Well, it was big online, where a lot of banks send out information with envelopes that are already prepaid, and a lot of people are taking them and stuffing all the paperwork and all their spam into them, or some people are even putting like pieces of wood or anything, shingles, anything that's heavy, and mailing it back. Because they
It's already paid
pay
for.
the
Baby
extra
powder.
postage. So if we really want to make Americans spend more money, we can make them pay postage. And lastly, was finding out what their mission statement is, because obviously we're going to have some bullshit mission statement, and then using that and ripping it apart and saying, oh, you say this, but you did this, and just ripping it apart that way.
Yeah, there was just one thing I thought. Well, I love the idea about outreach to people, encouraging them to move their money. Banks make most of their income by making loans, So maybe included in that outreach is to encourage people to make loans elsewhere. And with credit unions also make loans. So I mean, there's just another opportunity to hurt their business because that's really the main source of their income.
The issue right now is that banks aren't making loans. You know, that's the problem. They're not making mortgages, or if they do, they take a new mortgage and they sell it to the same guy next door. So, and the reason being is the reason why banks aren't making loans to refinance people's mortgages, if the mortgage might be at 6% or 7%, they take forever to refinance it. Why in the world would they want to lose money at 4%? They can take it and gamble it in the stock market and maybe make 8 or 10% in like 2 months versus 30 years at 3 or 4%. Until the government tells them they must, or somebody tells them they must, make mortgage loans, it ain't gonna happen. And that's how they've got it under control. The banks are borrowing money 0% basically, and they're just gambling with it.
They're not really borrowing money; they're being given money.
They're being given money, same thing, whatever you want to call it. They're not giving it out.
Point of clarification: were you writing down each of the?
I was for everybody else as well.
Are there in fact ones that are multiple?
Yeah. The biggest overlaps were Bankly, Move Your Money, promoting credit unions, using and specifically working with them and using their information, the foreclosure actions and the FTheBank.org actions for furniture. Those were the biggest overlaps.
So those 5 weeks, say them one more time.
Bankly.
I guess maybe I was going to say that there was actually one that was not mentioned. It's very brief, like petitioning against the banks, writing and organizing a petition. The technicality of it, the details, that's going to be a process because it's a complicated issue. We'll figure it out, but it's petitioning against them. So like legally disclose that they're breaking laws and to end that legally, to end them legally.
Yeah. Top 5 was Bankly, Move Your Money, directly working with credit unions, foreclosure actions like what was done in Wells Fargo, and the FTheBank action, which is furniture moving into the bank.
Yeah, one other idea, and this is more of a just along the same lines of the black taxing, but trying to figure out a way to take up a lot of the time and money of the bank. And that is getting to groups of, say, like 3 or 4, go into a bank, sit down, pretend like you want to open up a mortgage, and then try to take up as much time as you can and block out the personnel of the bank. I think it would work great on weekends when maybe a lot of people are going in. I don't know when the peak times are, but try to figure out when the peak times are at the banks and then do it then.
Every other Friday, probably. Yeah. Would that be a problem if the third person is depositing $1 and the bank teller's like, it's the third person depositing $1? Like, what are we going to do here?
But you're obvious. But if you are depositing $1, you are a customer of that bank. And if they do anything, you can complain. That teller was discriminating against me. That teller was not letting me at my dollar. That's my dollar. I'm a paying customer.
You're not going to let me withdraw my dollar? My money? You guys are stealing my money?
Yes, he was stealing my dollar.
I make a big
Exactly. It's a trigger word. If you say you are stealing my money to a bank teller, if they're refusing that you take out that dollar, everybody else in that bank is going to go,
whoa, what is going on here? And then if they see it continuously, like, 3 times while they're in line.
So, yeah.
Complain about the bank fee when you're there, too.
Yeah.
One time I walked into a bank and I had a check for $600 and they asked me how I wanted it. I am not, this is no shit, okay? I just made up this extravagant thing. I'm like, nickels. Shiny nickels. They said, why nickels? I said, well, they did that Ben Franklin statue with pennies, and I'm not so rich I can make a statue of myself to be immortalized out of dimes. So I want to go with nickels. And they told me to come back like every couple of days for some of the nickels, not all.
Oh my God.
Because they didn't have enough nickels in the bank. So if we do something where like we want to get all the nickels out of the bank or something like that, they can't even facilitate it for everybody. But yeah, the manager, I occupied the manager, the assistant manager, and the teller's time for those 20 minutes.
So it might be more useful that instead of getting people to just transfer all their money, to leave a tiny bit in to be able to act as an agent of just taking up a bunch of time.
I would immortalize myself as Nick please.
Well, no, seriously, I did this in Bristol, and I went into the commercial line. I had a commercial account, and it was like, it said red carpet treatment. I'm like, what kind of red carpet treatment? All you have is fucking nickels?
That's another idea, is over extravagant like that. The whole, like, coming with a red carpet and roll it down, and everybody's be dressed up in their suits and stuff, and be like, what?
Getting really dramatic about really pretty.
Yes. But those are the people depositing and withdrawing the dollars. They've got to be, dressed up.
Before we digress too much, we've got this list. What do we want to do? Is we bring it up as a thing at GA next time, or what should we do with this list now that we've confiscated all these ideas?
How about Occupy Hollywood?
Yes.
That's part of it.
I want to move to California.
What about the
It's
do
a ball.
you have a class like that?
I'm going to ball.
We have one for actually making these ideas and setting dates with these ideas.
Okay, so like proposing dates to each of these ideas at GA next?
Yeah, or even this weekend.
During this weekend?
Yeah. Or we could make a Bank of America action.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
been banned. Yeah, they were talking about it.
That's right.
Today,
It's
we
proposed
could
dates.
a group itself where they're the ones that if people want to go to and plan action, like a working group. Yeah. Or even an affinity.
Are you able to type this out? Is that something you research?
I can type it, yeah.
Okay, and then the next GA is Tuesday?
I can definitely type it up for Tuesday. I'm not going to be here.
Okay, so see if the GA and then bring it on Tuesday? Okay, and then we can take action on these ideas.
Can you facilitate and ask for temperature check on Tuesday?
Yes. Is there anybody who is drastically opposed to this list of ideas being presented at GA on Tuesday the 17th? You think this is a bad idea? You think this is something we do not want to do?
I'm not sure we get to it on Tuesday.
Wait, what?
The tax and debt discussion or someone from...
Well,
that's a portion of it, right? It's not it won't monopolize.
What about Saturday though? Because we could do a Saturday GA.
I personally will be here with totally responsible.
Let's see if we can fit in on Tuesday. Do what? On Tuesday.
So,
we will be there.
Saturday.
Oh, on Saturday.
You're not going to be here. You'll be here.
What's the 96% training?
I will make sure I go out of my way after work.
Okay, so this seems like an objection to Tuesday.
I'm fine with it being Tuesday as long as I can just get my information from someone else.
Yeah, it's so located like a cookie bank that died.
Do we want to get
Paper mache, cookie bag.
do we want to get information about Bank of America, Continental
Yeah, actually, that's a really good idea. Autonomously, if you want to get information regarding the illegalities that Bank of America has committed and some of the claims against them, compile information to disseminate and bring it on Tuesday. That will be part of this list of ideas.
I have been doing anybody one information that he was out, and I will make sure he knows.
Okay, so Brandy, between now and Tuesday would be a good point of contact.
I'll just say, publicizing this information, like, online and doing active coordination, like, let's just make a Facebook organizing group for that.
That would be even better.
Like,
Is that
I'll
easier?
do that,
That
like,
is
or
easier
whatever.
to,
Yeah.
It's easier as a collective, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't everything need to be private or everything to be open.
Exactly. And, like, we can organize this speech
But at the same
and
time,
prepare it in time for
brought up
GA.
the consideration that I'm going to the state.
Yeah, that is an issue. I guess, like, maybe let's talk about that after this, or I don't know. Well, I guess we're all there's no issues after this. I don't know. Does anyone have any opposition or?
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. That would be a good way to.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know what? I guess maybe right now we won't, and then we'll decide in the near future.
If you go ahead and do that, like you said, and just create affinity groups, you know?
So
like,
if anybody wants to coordinate online ideas or information about Bank of America, get Brandy's email before you leave tonight, so that when we come back, it will be compiled in a meaningful way for discussion. And I guess what we should agree or disagree on is when we want that discussion to be. And Tuesday's an option, Saturday's an option.
Or next Thursday.
Or next Thursday's an option, right? A week from today.
Because there's also someone in from New York speaking at GA Tuesday.
Is that the case? Is a week from today then? What's the topic?
Tax and debt. And there's someone from Occupy Student Loan Campaign from New York that's coming.
Okay, so maybe next Thursday seems better. 1 week from today. 1 week from today, based on these ideas and this information, we'll propose direct action. Thursday. Right, 1 week from today, next Thursday.
What's the date?
And does anybody have a strong objection
19th?
to a week from
Today's
today,
12th.
Thursday?
Yeah,
next?
19th.
Right, it looks like everybody's consenting to Thursday. That works?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, if you're going to do the sleep-in thing with the bank, you have a debit card. The vestibule opens up with a debit card. True story. And you camp there. I've many times used that as housing in other states.
In other countries.
Well, I'm sure. But, yeah. I use that as a little layover shelter.
So that's great. Again, if anybody wants to offer ideas or suggest information about Bank of America, coordinate with Brandy, get an email before you depart. Otherwise, everything that's been stated here and now is what will be on the table Thursday night. And I guess that's the last of it for tonight. Unless anybody has anything that would benefit the group to bring up at this point. I don't know why I'm gesticulating with the open hand. Does anybody have anything?
Get a guy on stilts wearing the same outfit.
Are you going to be on the stilts? I can't.
I can work stilts. I don't have an outfit. I don't have.
Is it done?
I think outfit.
So if you see in the trash has a Stilt or Uncle Sam outfit, reclaim that.
Oh, you want me to kill it?
Yeah. Maybe we get the Hummers in on it.
Wrapping up
Are you wrapped up now?
That would be amazing.
Hey, can you
Yeah, guys, actually, I want to make...
Will you be able to take
You got
this
a
and
thing?
throw it into the library?
Yeah, I think I can get it off my... Okay. All right.
That's